Hello, welcome everybody. Happy Tuesday. We are sure it has been a very busy day. We all remember that sometimes those 4-day weeks are sometimes really wonderful, but also really long weeks. So we so appreciate you all being here with us today. So my name is Christine Lipschitz, and I am the Director of Social and Emotional Learning at United to Learn. But in my past life, I was a fifth grade science teacher. So really excited to work with you all today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about United to Learn and why we're so excited about this training. And then we're going to introduce our co-leaders as well. So some of you all most likely have heard of United to Learn. We partner with 49 Dallas ISD elementary schools, including yours. And our mission is really all about getting purposeful leaders, really all about growing purposeful leaders and accelerating student learning. We work in 4 main areas, which are 1, to improve school social and emotional learning health; 2, to create aspirational learning environments; 3, to drive student literacy achievement; and 4, to activate an informed community to really be present in your schools. And so that often looks like lots of volunteers that you might see from United to Learn in your schools. And we know that a wonderful, dedicated teacher in the classroom year over year has the greatest impact on student achievement. So that is why we are so excited to meet with you all today. And we also want to be real that these last few years have presented us all with unforeseen challenges and loss. And schools, we know, are one of the places where you as educators are feeling this so acutely and continuing to see the impact that this pandemic has had on our community. We also know that there are a few jobs that are more important than yours that you are doing day in and day out right now. So our hope is that this session, which is all about family engagement, will leave you with some new ideas and also some practical tools for your toolbox, but that you also leave feeling really energized and inspired, and just know that we are so grateful for all that you do. So now I'm going to introduce our wonderful leaders for today's session. So Marisol Rodriguez, I'll let you kick us off.
Hi, everybody, and I just want to echo Christine's gratitude for being here today. I know how busy you guys are every day. I am Marisol Rodriguez. I am the Director of Literacy at United to Learn. I was also a classroom teacher for Dallas ISD for about a decade, and so I'm really excited to share some of the things I've learned with you guys as well as learn from you. And then we also have Mariah Matthews with us today.
Hello, again, I'm Mariah Matthews. I will be running the technology and monitoring the chat. I also come from the classroom. I was a sixth grade science teacher for the last 4 years, and now I am excited to be presenting this to you all today.
And just one quick bit of housekeeping, if you wouldn't mind, if you would please make sure that we'd love to know what school you all are from. That helps us. So if you put if you are able to rename yourself, which often you can do just with those 3 little dots that you might see in the upper right-hand corner. If you name yourself however you'd like us to call you, so either your first name and then the school where you teach, or you might go by Mr. or Mrs. and then your last name and the school that you teach. So if you would go ahead and just edit your names when you get a chance, that'd be great. And now we are going to give you a quick overview of what our sessions look like. So this is one of 4 sessions, and I'll let Mariah talk about all the sessions that we have planned.
All right, so we have 4 sessions planned. Today, we are going to be talking about We Are Family, and this is talking specifically about building and facilitating strong family to school connections, especially around middle of year conferences. Next month, February 15th, our session title is It's a Beautiful Day, Don't Let It Get Away, and this will be about building effective classroom management systems so that every day is a great day for learning. April 19th will be RESPEC TEACS, find out what it means, and that will be analyzing current TEACS to deepen understanding on what students need to know and show. And then our last session will be May 17th, and it will be titled Lean on Me. And this will be about how building a strong community of support at your school can increase joy and success as a teacher.
Okay, so what will today look like? So we're going to take you through a few different activities. So first, we know it's been a hectic day, and so we're going to take a moment and just breathe together. We're also going to have some time to connect with each other. You are going to be inspired by some wonderful veteran teachers. And we're going to specifically talk about family teacher conferences as a way to really develop strong school to home connections with our kind of top 5 practices that we recommend. We're going to view a sample family teacher conference agenda, and you'll even have some time to practice leading a family teacher conference. And then finally, you'll learn more about some additional Dallas ISD resources and supports from one of our Dallas ISD leaders. So first, as promised though, let's take just a moment just for you to breathe. So we're going to do one of our favorite breathing activities to kind of prime our minds for learning, put those stressors that I'm sure we are all coming with today in their place. And what you're going to do for this 5-finger breathing activity, this is also a great one to do with your students if you haven't done this with them before. You're just going to put your hand out so you have all your 5 fingers splayed. And we are going to breathe deeply, but we're also going to engage in a gratitude practice. And we're doing this because we know that when we participate in both giving and receiving gratitude, it really can change our brains. It can result in us having an open mindset and even change our actions. So to do this, you're going to take a deep breath in as you trace your finger up. And then when you get to the top of your finger, you're going to think about something for which you are truly grateful for today. It does not have to be big. I always really like thinking of just 5 small things that I'm grateful for from the moment I wake up until this moment. So it could be as small as just, oh gosh, I got to school, maybe not small, but I got to school without running out of gas today. I had a warm cup of coffee. So what are those things that you were grateful for? They could have gone the other way for you today. I'm going to take you through the first breath, and then you're going to do the next 5 on your own. Okay. So go ahead, make sure your feet are planted. You can cast your eyes downward or close your eyes if you're more comfortable doing that. And take a deep breath in. Think about something you are truly grateful for today, and deep exhale. Okay, go ahead and do 5 more on your own. Okay, now take one more deep breath in through your nose. Gentle pause and deep exhale. Okay, I'm sure we all probably needed a moment to breathe after this long weekend, and hopefully that was helpful. Okay, so as promised, now we're going to take a minute to connect. So one of the most important things about being a teacher is beginning to really build your teacher community, and we want you to do some of that today. So we're going to send you into breakout groups of just 3 or so people. And in your breakout groups, we'd love for you to share a rose and a thorn from today, from this week, from kind of your teaching career in general. So think about what is something that's gone really well for you, and then what is something that is maybe keeping you up at night.
All right, so we can go ahead and move on to our next slide. So at every one of these sessions you attend, we're going to highlight a veteran teacher of Dallas ISD. So we know that experienced teachers are one of the greatest resources you have as a new teacher. So we always say that the teachers, borrow and steal, and definitely watching and learning from other teachers is one of the best things you can do as a brand new teacher. So with us today, we have Henny Agredo Montoya. She is a veteran Dallas ISD teacher of 12 years. She currently teaches at Walnut Hill Leadership Academy. She's a gifted and talented teacher there, as well as a coordinator, but she's taught pre-K, second, third grade, fourth grade bilingual. And she also works on a really cool project as the academic coordinator for the education for sustainability in the Galapagos Islands. So bringing PD to teachers there. And she's here today to talk to us a little bit about family engagement. So welcome, Henny.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me, Marisol, and Christine, and Mariah.
Of course. And so we're going to, I'm just going to ask her some questions about how she engages families. But the first thing I want to know, and I think, we're all curious to know, is what keeps you in the classroom? What keeps you still teaching with Dallas IC? Where do you find the joys?
I feel we all have different motivations, so we get all motivated differently. So to me, it's mostly first I love to work with children. Those little things that happen every day in the classroom is just impossible to make up. There's just so authentic and natural moments that happen that makes you feel happy about it. And I also like to see my students' growth emotionally, academically, as a person. Like I had students that I have been working on since they were in first grade as a GT teacher, and now they are in fifth grade, getting ready to go to middle school. So seeing their progress and how they grow up. So I love that. I love the environment. I love to work in a school opposed to working at an office. I just love to be here in a campus. And I also like the challenge. Teaching is challenging. And I love to have that challenge, and that I can always be very creative in my classroom, and I can come up with different ways to teach my students, to engage them. So it's also, to me, it's also a matter of creativity, and I'm able to work on that. So I guess all of those different things make it the perfect career for me. But teaching, you have to love it because it is challenging. But
Yeah.
if you love it, you're gonna be here for years and years like I am.
I would definitely agree with everything you just mentioned. Seeing that growth in your students is something amazing. You pour so much into teaching, but it pours back into you just as much. And I would agree that it's challenging, but it is, truly, I know teachers, we hear this all the time. It's so rewarding. It really is, at the end of the day.
And it's also a matter to finding the best placement for you. Some of us are very good for early childhood education. Some of us might say, no, I prefer to work with older students, or I prefer this grade level, this subject. So it's also a matter of finding what the best placement for you is as a teacher and as a person. And for that, you need to work with your administration, so you have the opportunities like I had. I taught pre-K, second, third, fourth, all these different grade levels. And if somebody asks me, if you have to come back to a core content area, where would you go back to? And I always say fifth grade. So it's also a matter that you can explore different grade levels, because right now I'm between K5. So explore different contents, explore different grade levels, content areas. Don't be afraid. It was really hard for me when I moved from pre-K to second grade, and I was not prepared for that mentally. I went out for summer break, and when I came back, I was surprised, you're gonna be a second grade teacher now. And I was not prepared for that, and I was super upset, and I didn't think I was gonna be able to make it. But then after that, I was like, oh no, I didn't know what I was missing now. I love to work with older kids. And so don't be afraid, just find what is worst for you, what is best for you, the best placement.
Yeah, I love that point. I think that that's very true. We all have our different strengths and loves. So I love that you're giving that advice. So our session today is about family engagement. So I'm wondering what some of the challenges you face when it came to engaging families or communicating with them.
I feel that time is the biggest one, and from both ends. Like time for the parents, especially when you work with at-risk populations, you have parents that have 1, 2, 3 jobs, and they don't have the time to be in parent teachers conference, or to come to meet with you when you need to, or to even talk over the phone in the times that you are working. So you need to be flexible and work around their schedule and work around what they have time to, because it is important to have those communications, or to have those channels open to communicate with parents. And also on our end, also sometimes we tend to minimize the things that we do good in our classroom, that we do really well. Or when their students have those really good moments, and we're, oh, well, that's good. And we also tend to communicate only the negative. So also finding a way to communicate the good things that happen in our classroom, the great things that you're doing in our classrooms. And that's why I feel that newsletters are so powerful and a good resource to do that, because you can kind of communicate with parents and show what you're doing in your classroom and showcase it. Sometimes for us, no, this is just normal, but when the parents see it, that's, oh, that's great what the teachers are doing in their classroom with my kids. So find that way to showcase the work that you're doing so the parents see and understand what you are doing with your students. But going back to your question, yes, I feel that time, parents sometimes don't have much time. We don't have that much time. So it's finding that we can work around everyone's schedule and be flexible.
I love that you made that point of communicating with parents when positive things happen as well. I'm sure a lot of parents are used to, or families are used to getting that call when their child has, had an issue in school. So I love that you are, building that relationship with families with, okay, I can also give you a call when something is going well. And I think parents probably really, I'm sure they really appreciated hearing those things as well.
And also we have the parents that sometimes might disappear because they're busy doing a lot of things, but we also had the parents that like all the time calling you, all the time sending you letters or writing you notes. So it also is about communicating as well, like to not be defensive or thinking that the parent is judging us or the parent is being negative. Sometimes they just want to know. I mean, it's their kids. And when they send their kids to school, the parents are sending the most valuable that they have, their children, and they just want to know. Sometimes they are, so we shouldn't be as defensive to answer their questions, because sometimes we have parents that are very like pushy and this and say, and ask questions and questions and questions. And I have found out that all you need to do is answer, tell them, communicate them, and they're going to feel, usually they feel a lot better after that, and they start trusting you more as a teacher. So just open those channels of communications again.
Would you say that's one of the things that you learned from when you were, a new teacher in your first couple of years to now being a teacher of 12 years,
Yeah.
not taking things personally from parents?
Yes, and at first I thought that it was all on me. Like I thought I'm the teacher, I'm responsible for everything, so I wouldn't even ask to the parents for help with anything, because I thought that it was all on me. And I'm coming from a South American country where it's very common that the parents are like very away from the teachers, like we don't work as much together. And so I never thought that I could even ask parents for help. And that's something that I learned my first year. Like, no, it's okay to ask for help. In fact, you are working together and you are collaborating. And then I started getting parents that were kind of asking questions, and I will feel like, are they like judging me? I like, why are they asking these so many questions? But then I just realized that they just want to know what is going on in the classroom, and that's perfectly okay.
And Henny, I think you used a really important word. You said collaborate. I think when parents feel like they're a part of their students' learning process, they're that much more, they're already invested. Obviously, this is their child. They want the best for them. But when they feel like they have a voice in the learning process, it really, really, gets them ingrained into it. So, I love that collaboration. And just finally, do you have any advice, for teachers in their first years when it comes to parenting or family engagement, I should say?
Yeah, with family engagement, that communication is key. Talk to the parents. Don't be afraid of parents. They just want to collaborate with you. They want to know what is going on in the classroom, and that's super normal. And be prepared. Like when you have a conversation with a parent, know your student. Okay, know the data, know what you're talking about, and use a terminology they are going to be able to understand. Because some parents, they don't understand a lot of the things that we're saying. They don't understand start, help us, ACP, and this and that. So try to make it simple for them so they understand what you're saying, and also try to be on their shoes. Sometimes they just don't know what to do. I have realized that with many parents, that when you have this list, this laundry list of complaints about a student, and sometimes the parent is going through the same situation at home and they need support, that I just don't know what to do. They are not doing it on purpose. So we need to work together to find how can we help these families, because honestly, most of the times they need it because they just truly don't know what to do, how to help their student with behavior or even academically, because the parents might not even have the skills that are required to support the kids at home. So just think positive intent. That's what I'm trying to communicate here.
Oh, I love that. Positive intent. Well, thank you so much, Henny, for sharing some of your wisdom and learned experience with us. At every session, we will have a veteran teacher sharing some of their experiences, and we really appreciate you coming on today. I think your advice is super valuable because you do learn from experience. So we appreciate you.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a nice session.
That was fabulous. And I think such a great segue into our top 5 practices for family teacher conferences. Because the first one we're going to talk about is actually how important it is kind of get off on a positive note. So to be really welcoming. So this is just a preview, and then we're going to go in depth with each of these. But we thought it would be really helpful for as we go into these topics and into these practices, for you to think about one student in particular that you have an upcoming conference with. So the more that you can make this applicable to one student and kind of even build habits around one student, then it will translate to the rest of your class. So we're going to talk about how important it is to be welcoming, be prepared, to prioritize, to ask for help, and then finally to use this as a learning opportunity. But let's start with being welcoming. So one of the things that, and now for many of you, I know are parents yourselves, being on the other side of it, you also realize that parents often going to these and parents, or we also call them family teacher conferences, because we know it's not always the parent that comes, right? It could be the guardian, grandmother, aunt. So our students have a whole host of people, right, that support them in their lives. And that might be that person that's at that conference or your main point of contact. So having as a parent myself been to conferences, one of the first things that you want to know, or that I always want to know, is just, does the teacher like my child, right? Does my child feel safe there with the teacher? Are they warm? Are they taking good care of my child, holding them to high expectations, but also seeing them for who they are, right? As a little person that is here showing up every day to learn. So how can you make the parents instantly feel welcome, right? And maybe take down some of those barriers, whether they're coming with some anxiety, or maybe they're coming with some preconceived notion of maybe something that's going on in the class that's not really going on, right? So starting off with some trust by doing something as simple as just smiling, right? Being really warm, just beginning right off the bat by saying how happy you are that the child is in their class. So yes, there might be some concerns that you bring up later, but truly you are happy that every single one of the children that you serve, right, is with you. As Henny was saying, we're entrusted with parents, children, and it is such a huge responsibility. So we need to make sure that they feel comfortable. Of course, offer a seat. Generally, just do a quick check-in. So we talk a lot about students, but we don't always spend a lot of time just checking in adult to adult and saying, how are you doing right now? So spending the time to do that. And just having a positive anecdote ready about the child, and really one specific thing that you want to share about them. As soon as the parent hears that one specific thing, they'll see their whole face light up, and you've just instantly built some trust and rapport with that parent, especially if it's the first time that you're meeting them. And now I'll turn it over to Marisol to talk about our next practice.
So we would definitely suggest that you be prepared. So, parents, families want to know that you know their child. So we would suggest writing down a few notes about each child. Make sure that you have prepared, their grades and their work portfolio. This is a great opportunity to have the kids also customize their portfolios if you want them to have, if they can make their own, draw something on a folder, put a message for their parents. Parents really love that personal touch to things like this. Make sure that you do have dedicated time to connect with each family. So again, try to be as prepared as possible for your conference or your meeting with families. They will really appreciate knowing that you know and understand their child. All right. And so prioritize. So think in threes. I think Kenny alluded to this sometimes when we talk to families. We use a lot of teacher speak or teacher talk, and we can overwhelm them with information. So try to keep it to the rule of three. So give the families three strengths of their students, three areas of opportunity and growth, and three things they can actively do at home. Again, if you have a laundry list of things, this information can overwhelm families, and they won't know exactly what to do next. So think about what's the most important thing that their student needs to work on. So again, three strengths, three areas where they can grow, and then three things to do at home. If there is additional information that you have for the parents concerning their child, then feel free to set up another meeting and say, I would also like to talk to you about this. Can we talk at this point? So again, putting that dedicated time in, but we don't want to overwhelm families with a lot of information. So make sure you prioritize. All right. And then lastly, do not be afraid, or next, do not be afraid to ask for help. So reach out to your administration or to a veteran teacher, even your support staff like teacher assistants. There may be families that you're unsure how to speak to them, or there's families that you haven't connected with, haven't built a relationship with. And so don't be afraid to go to somebody on your campus that you trust, and you can let the families know, this is Miss or Mr. So-and-so, they're helping me engage with you. It's fine to be transparent about that, but don't be afraid to ask for help. I think Kenny made the point perfectly that it doesn't all have to be on you. So you have, people on your campus that have lots of experience, from veteran teachers to administrators that can share their insight as well. Your grade level chair as well, or the rest of your team.
Okay, and then also we wanted to just think through, using this as a learning opportunity. So yes, you may have a full afternoon of conferences, and sometimes it could be tempting just to be like, okay, this is what I'm going to share. I'm going to get through them, right? And you maybe come out not knowing more about the student than you could have if you really encourage yourself to think of this as a learning opportunity. So think about, what do you want to know about the student? What can you maybe learn about the family to make stronger connections to that student? Learning about their home life, their interest, their baby brother, their grandmother, right? All those things that help develop trust with the student. Also, this is one of our favorite things to do at the beginning of the year, is really setting aside time to ask the family what goals they have for their children. But the beginning of second semester is also a perfect time to do it too. Every family has goals and aspirations, and the better you know the families and know kind of their hopes for their children, the better you can get to know the children as well. So one of the resources that we wanted to share with you is this All About Me sheet. And this is something that we would always love to give at the beginning of the year, but you can also give it to students during parent-teacher conferences to work on. We've seen some teachers will have the students sit at the table when they're having, or now we may be on Zoom, but they'd have them present during the parent-teacher conference. Other teachers will have the student maybe wait outside or not present. That really is a teacher by teacher decision. But if you are having the student wait, or even for the family to prepare for the conference, this is a really great sheet that you can have them fill out together or on their own if it's an older student. So feel free to download. You should be able to just download it, save it, and then you can edit it and make it yours and make it work for you. Okay, so now we are going to share a sample student teacher conference sheet, or I'm sorry, family teacher conference sheet. And so there may be a sheet that you already use at your school. I remember when I was a new teacher, there was really no agenda for me to go off of. And I always really had wished that someone had given me an agenda like this. And so we wanted you all to be prepared and at least have something that you can edit. So I'm also going to put this link into the chat. And for this as well, you should be able to, you won't be able to edit it if you just click on it, but if you download it and save it, then again, you can make it your own. So feel free to delete anything, add anything, make it useful for you.
One of the great things about working for a district like Dallas ISD is all of the departments that it has to offer. There's so much talent within the district. So with us today, we have Yesenia Cardoza Ramirez. She is the Director of Family and Community Engagement and Early Learning. And she's going to talk to us today about what their department does and how they can help you engage your families.
Hi, good afternoon. Just a quick question if I can share my screen for our quick slide deck that we have.
Yes. I'm going to make you a co-host. There you are. And you should be able to share your screen. And Mariah, if you want to stop sharing.
Perfect. All right, you should be able to see a PowerPoint. This is United to Learn on here. All right, awesome. So my name is Yesenia Ramirez. I am the Director of Family Communication in the Early Learning Department. And so what that is I work with family engagements with the pre-K to second grade, but I also oversee the pre-K enrollment and registration process for the entire district. So it's quite a bit that I do that. But I also have here with me is Marlene, and she can introduce herself and say a little bit what she does. She's actually from the Office of Family Community Engagement.
Hello, yes, good afternoon. My name is Marlene Yepes Portas, and I am a coordinator in the Office of Family Community Engagement. And some of you may be familiar with me and maybe not, but you will be as we soon begin to collaborate a little bit more with the campus exactly of what family engagement is and how we play a big role when it comes to partnerships and collaborations.
Awesome, thank you. So I was able to listen in some of your conversation and your role playing. So we know that parent conferences are really designed to help communicate with our parents, whether the child is excelling in. It also provides the opportunity for the teachers to ask parent questions to help the teacher gain some insight and some knowledge and how to better improve the instruction in the classroom based on what the teacher is learning from home. So like I said, as a former teacher, as a former instructional coach, as a former principal, and now a director, I've been able to use these times in different ways in different venues to really be able to support the child and the family as a whole. It helps provide the additional different steps and how we can help improve the child at home or how we can help improve the child in the classroom. But it's always used as a platform to help build relationships between the teacher and the parent and the family as a whole. So parent conferences for parents really gives the opportunity for us, the parent, to be able to ask questions and get to know what is the child learning and what they're doing or what are the next steps or how's my child doing in school, but really in a nice, friendly environment. And again, it really tries to help strengthen the relationship between the teacher and the parent and the child for the academic outcome. But in order for you to do that, we really need to look at what is your idea of an effective family engagement, right? For us, it's really being able to build trust. It doesn't matter what we do, we always need building trusting relationships to impact any relationship that we're in. For us here as an educators, we really want to build a trusting relationship with ongoing communication, because at the end, we really want and in the end to have academic partnering, because we do want to see our parents as partners to be able to support their child, our students' need in the long run. And how do we do this? So a quick question on the chat. Can everybody type on the chat? Yes, okay, perfect. The question on the chat is, what do you do to engage your families prior to parent conference night? So what do you do to engage parents prior to conference night? If you can add those in the chats. I'll give you about a minute. I see we have some meet and greets. Send folders home. Send out communication. We got monthly newsletter. Keep parents involved with the projects, class dojo, school events, STEM night, spooktacular. Very nice. The sticker on the shirt to remind parents about parent conference night. Lots of answers. Provide parents with students' profiles and letters. Ask students to make invites. All right, awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. So those are some great ideas because the idea is we want to be able to contact and communicate and build a relationship prior to parent conferences, right? So we want to build that bond because if we look at what real family engagement is, so anything that we see in the dark old is a much stronger, meaningful relationship as opposed to is one on the left. All of it is to build relationship, but some of these actually become a lot stronger. So earlier on, I've heard you guys have a conversation. So I asked, getting to know the family as a whole, just like when you build a relationship with others, you wanted to get to know them before you actually spend a lot more time in sharing more information about yourself, right? So very similar to that. So for us here at the district, we actually do the home visits, right? Where our teachers actually get compensated to be able to do meaningful relationships, whether they do them in persons at home. Of course, we used to do this a lot before COVID. And now we have the option of doing virtually, right? Which we've done since COVID has existed. And they're actually designed to start off at the beginning of the year and throughout the year because you really get to know the family, the parent as a whole. Like you're talking to them in their environment where they feel much more comfortable as opposed to them coming to your school. And that's a great way to start a relationship with the ongoing communication, as I mentioned earlier. Because what we want to go on is we talked about the ongoing communication, whether it's the consistent communication with phone calls, but then in the end, you really want to start getting that goal setting talk and conversation, what actually leads up into your parent conferences.
And so in order to be able to continue this collaboration and continue this conversation, we have 5 roles that the Flamboyant Foundation was able to collaborate and share with us as we received a partnership involvement with them regarding how and what can families do to ensure that they have these roles to accelerate student learning. Now, have any of you seen these roles before? Do they look familiar to any of the teachers? No, and that's okay, because we're here going to learn a little bit about it. And when I mentioned earlier is that you'll hear more about what is it that we do in our department is because we do focus a lot on those 5 roles. And you may hear it from your campus point of contact, sharing information about the 5 roles to families and how do families play these roles. But it's not only a family partnership, it's also a teacher partnership. And so when we look at communicating those high expectations, we're talking about what is it that the parents can do to help their children succeed in communicating those high expectations? What does that look like? What does that conversation look like? And so as teachers, we can help our families by sharing information about the milestones students should meet to begin a successful academic path. And just as you were mentioning, with the parent conference, that's a good time to be able to communicate those high expectations of where students should be and to just really guide parents in having that information to be able to do that. We want to ensure that families are able to monitor their child's performance. And how does that happen? Again, during the parent conference, families can support their child's success by regularly checking in with them. And not only the students, but with the teachers as well. So one of the things that we do is we ensure that we provide the support. And a lot of you mentioned the class dojo, this school events, but most importantly, the platform that we use now, which is Power School, where families can look at the students' grades and have those conversations with you as a teacher and see exactly what is happening so that the parents can monitor that progress. Now, the one important one that we do stress a lot is the support learning at home. And I saw that as well there of what is it that can be done at home? Well, when we know what families support their children, then reinforce that learning at home. So we want our students to do better. And it's not a one-way street or hall, because parents cannot do it themselves and new teachers cannot do it themselves. It's a partnership. So teachers can help families support learning at home through that consistent academic partnership, that trust that you were able to build, that conversation piece, and developing that communication. And so whatever the communication that you utilize and the platform that you utilize is what will help these families be successful with their students. And just knowing that helping the families create a series of those really questions that will help and focus in the specific support, and just really just ensuring that the students know what the assignment is. And if they don't know what the assignment is, guess what? You were able to share information with the parents on how to do that assignment. So then now are able to provide that support at home and continue that learning. And always ensuring that families know how to guide their child's education. We know that families play this important role in ensuring that their students' experience begins in the preschool, but it does not end once students enter the middle school. A lot of times our families feel, oh, they're in middle school and that's it. They don't need my support. They know how to do this. They know how to do the teachers. Well, research shows that no, that students still need that support all the way through college and all the way high school through college to ensure that they're successful. So we want to ensure that we provide all the tools that the parents can get, the resources and activities that they can utilize by providing, if it's that support from your counselor, from the social worker, from the community organization, from United to Learn, to ensure that what are these tools that the parents can utilize for them to be able to guide their children's education. And then the most important one of all is advocating for their children. We know that parents want the best for their children, and by advocating for their children, they ensure that they have that personal attention and necessary support that's needed to be successful in school. So when parents see that there's a need and they see that their child is really trying and they're helping their child at home, and the teacher shared with them, this is the skill they're working on, they're not able to do it at home, what's the next step? Ms. Yepes, what's the next step? What can I do next? Who can help me? Oh, you have a resource teacher. Oh, there's an organization. Oh, there's a tutoring program. Oh, what is that next step? And if it could be beyond, it could be maybe a special service that is needed. And so ensuring that the parents have that resource, ensuring that we guide parents to play these roles will give our students that success, because that's what we want to do. We want to ensure that they're able to accelerate that student learning. And so again, we are doing this in our department. We are providing that support with our family community engagement contact person. We are ensuring that we are here for you. And as we provide the support, reach out to us. You'll see a little bit more of what that academic partnering looks like as we continue with the school year. And especially right now with the times that we are living in, it's a little bit challenging, but we're trying to ensure that these roles do get played in place.
Awesome, thank you. Any questions?
Well,
So how can they reach your department?
my department, okay, I'm going to put here, and I lost where, here we go. I'm going to put here on the chat box just a little, you can complete that for me, please. But my name, I'll go ahead and type my name. Oops.
So what an amazing resource to have right in your district, of this Department of Family Engagement. And I love those 5 roles that families can play. I think that really makes it tangible for you to see. And I see, okay, so I see that Marlena's email is in the chat.
And feel free to reach out at any time. We're here to help partnering. This is something we're really excited about. And as Yesenia knows, we're really pushing the academic partnership of what that looks like, what that conversation looks like, and how we can engage to ensure that our parents and families are successful together. Because again, once a teacher, always a teacher. And I was a teacher. I don't look like it, 25 years ago. And so I totally understand it. And I'm happy to see here Dandy Rogers, because Dandy Rogers was the first school that I attended when I came from a different I'm originally from Ecuador, so I hold hard, and I was an instructional coach there. So I have all these connections, and so I'm super excited to be able to partner and with Yesenia and be able to just really push this new initiative here that we have so much passion for. And I think you'll be successful. We just can't do it alone, and you can't do it alone. We need our families, and we need to just continue to help and support them and guide them to be able to work together with us.
Yeah, and like we mentioned earlier, like like I said, we really have to build those meaningful relationships, you know, with us teachers, with our families, because they're really, I mean, they're their kids, right? They really know what's going on at the home life, and there's things that you as a teacher will actually get to learn about the family and the child as you're learning, you know. So like a brief story about myself. So my parents are from Mexico, so I'm first generation here, and my parents' education didn't go as high as until middle school. And so I struggled academically my entire life that I was in school. And, you know, when I asked my mom, as I got older to become an educator, what was the conversation like? I said, oh, well, we went to pay, PTA dues, or we just went to the school meetings and went to parent conference night. What would they say? Oh, your daughter's so creative. And she talks a lot, like he really talks a lot. That's still true though, that hasn't gone away. And she goes, but she's struggling. She's just struggling academically because she spoke Spanish first. And so they assumed that because I spoke Spanish first, and there was not a lot of question and partnering. So it turned out that I actually had learning disabilities. I have dyslexia, which was not discovered until I was in college. Funny story. Because that teacher built a relationship with me as an adult. And so would have been like differently if, my teachers would have built the relationship outside of parent conferences, to getting to know that my mom didn't know how to speak English or read it, or herself not even write Spanish, and knowing that I really didn't have somebody at home that's going to be able to help me with my regular learning, no less so that I had a learning disability, and be able to get supports from other entities as I did myself for my child that I did learn that also had the same disability because it's inherited, and be able to support them on the front end. But really having this, really getting to know the family, because it will impact you as teachers and how you teach and service your children.
Thank you. Thank you again. And thank you so much for sharing that story. It really brings that home to us. And with that, we are wrapping up our session. We have one more giveaway for a $50 gift card. So if Mariah, you want to just pick a name, and we will send you a digital Amazon gift card through your email.
All right.
And we just also ask that you complete a survey for us. Mariah will put it up on the screen, and then join us for our next session as well. Please invite your fellow new teachers. As you can see, these sessions will be quick and painless. We'll highlight veteran teachers, a district resource, and hopefully you can take away some tangible strategies for your classroom.
All right, so for the giveaway, the lucky winner is Emma Grace Lloyd.
All right, Miss Lloyd, Emma Grace Lloyd, you just watch out for it in your email. And then we have a survey, a quick survey for you to take. It should take you no longer than a minute or two. And please come back for our next session that will be all about classroom management strategies, which we know are super valuable strategies we can use in our classroom. So we can put up the survey link. Do we have that on here?
Okay, thank you, everybody. And as soon as you have finished the survey, you are feel free to hop off. But you should have our contact information. So if you need anything, please let us know. Happy Tuesday and have a great rest of your week. Thanks, everybody. And congrats, Emma and Miss Thomas, on your Amazon gift cards. Some good teacher supplies coming your way, hopefully, or maybe just a little treat for yourself. You can absolutely do that as well. Thank you, teachers. Thanks, everyone. Bye, everyone. Bye, Mr. Fernandez. Thanks. Bye.